This week's episode of the Meet the Break podcast is powered by Northwest Pizza and Pasta in Ashland, Oregon, where if you think the pizza is good, try hands down the best wings in the valley. Nobody does wings like NWP, and I mean nobody. Order online to save time for takeout or delivery. Northwest Pizza, Pasta. Now enjoy the show. Let's get it then, man. It's the Meet the Brave podcast. I am Monty Draper.
I'm LG.
Lex BUB.
And we are back, remote episode. My brothers, how are y'all doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing lavishly lovely.
There you go. Bad and bougie? You bad and bougie this morning?
Yeah, just a little
lavishly
bit. Just a little.
Oh, man, I want to thank all of our YouTube viewership, our Apple Podcast subscribers, Spotify subscribers, Simplecast, Stitcher, Castbox FM. I think I said Simplecast already, but thank you guys, our sponsors, both Northwest Pizza and Bubble Productions. I feel like as a default, I say a lot to get to, but I don't really feel like it's that much to get to. Like, not anything in terms of like pop culture wise, but like shit that mattered to me. It felt like a lot of stuff. So I don't know. That's the topics I got this week, fellas. What about y'all?
Yeah, I had some deep ones that I decided not to drop on this one. And then it was one of them that I couldn't remember. Once again, didn't write down anything in parentheses to find out what the hell that actually was. So at the moment, I'm pretty sure it's fire.
Hey,
but yeah, I got some shit.
All I have to say, I got some shit.
What about you, Lex?
Man, I got a couple of light ones, nothing too serious. And then I got one, and then I got another fan question.
Oh.
We'll save that for last because it's gonna get sick. I know it is.
Well, unanimously, we kind of all had similar, like at least one that kind of bled over. So I figured it might be dope to start there. And I'm not really sure which lens you guys want to approach it from. Oh, no. I take that back. That's not true. That is not true at all. Couple of updates to get through and a couple of thank yous. There are some friends of the show that frequently tap in and just kind of keep it going. So I wanted to salute all of them: the JoJos, the Specials, the Jeremys, Dill, Neek, Mike Smith. Let me know he's a listener. I know Push is a listener of the show. Push is a really dear friend and collaborator. One of my favorite artists, but also just one of those people that is dedicated themselves to the craft as a whole. Elijah has practically threatened Larry in our lives if we don't drop on Mondays. Salute to Jesse, my mom. There's Shay, of course. I cannot forget Shay. Shay is like day one listener. So it's these groups of people that constantly tap in, and I just want to just make sure to be mindful to continue to thank y'all and keeping the show lit and being the reason, one of the reasons to continue to do this, but also as you know, as things continue to morph and prophecy, however you want to call it, doing this show specifically is really giving me the strength to continue to figure out how to problem solve and do the work individually. And a lot of that is rooted with not taking shit personal and not moving an emotion as a means to like eventually derail some shit, right? And so if I'm taking accountability, like my younger self and trying to collaborate with personalized shit in a way that would it would actually undermine an entire project. 9 times out of 10. Like it never seemed to fail. Like some part of the communication or some form of miscommunication or something just wouldn't have been articulated clearly, or I wouldn't have sought clarity on a particular exchange and would have just allowed it to derail something. And I'm bringing that up because this week I had the privilege of releasing episode 2 of Live from Mama Dog Studios, and that project is exactly an example of the just taking accountability for self. Some of the same hurdles arrived in that project that have arrived in others. And it was one of the first times I can remember in real time doing, you know, sort of just taking inventory and looking at what the common denominator was, and it was me. So then if I'm present in all of those different exchanges and some of the same shit is arising, then I can't really point the finger at nobody. You know what I'm saying? So then I had to really look at myself, which was hard to do. I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro. That shit ain't easy. Like so much of me and my initial wiring wants to go back and like play the victim, point the finger, all this other shit that doesn't sort of lend itself to doing the work. And it scared the shit out of me because what it revealed is that there's a lot of work to do, one, and then a reminder that I haven't, while I've acquired some new tools, I don't know if I've necessarily done the work to be mindful to put them to use on a consistent basis. So that shit arose, but then ultimately it was an opportunity to slow down, take accountability, and show some sort of emotional agility and get the shit done. So I want to salute Carl, Pilar, the entire staff at Mama Dog and Corduroy Media for, you know, for sort of just being patient, assuming a lot of the workload and a lot of the, you know, the upfront costs to produce something that magnitude. And I know Lex and Elle, you guys manage projects all the time, so you guys know how the money works. But that's the novice. But we have a lot, and I shouted all those people out because of some of the jobs that they do. I was fortunate to meet with Shay this week. I talked to Dylan because it's a basis, like they deal with large sums of money and how to delegate and how to make it stretch and how to see projects through. And you know, it was a real learning process for me in terms of how much is on the line and how much of yourself, your ego, you got to take out the fucking way in order to see some of that shit through. So I'm grateful to have seen it through, to have gotten the feedback and the love, but ultimately it was a true lesson in like how much work there is to do. And granted, that's some art shit, but how that loops back in us politically, economically, bruh, is like a lot of the shit where we trying to look for solutions and we're leading with emotion. Like that shit is not serving us, bruh. Because a lot of the people you gotta have to go sit with in order to get some of this shit done are going to look different from you, are going to have different thoughts and perspectives and subscribe to different shit. But that don't necessarily mean just tune it all out and just pick your ball up and go home and never get shit done. And so it's just a really small speck on a larger scale, but it felt like a necessary acquisition of a real pivotal tool in terms of how the fuck we're gonna finesse and figure these things out going further. So I wanted to share that as a means to like salute getting that project done and sort of timestamp it, but more so from a tactical standpoint and like what was acquired, what had to be exercised, what had to be explored. And ultimately, shit, we back here, man. Like doing an hour show that we've kind of just figured out as we went and stayed agile. Salute to my co-hosts and co-creators for, you know, just constantly being innovative and bringing new shit to the table, because we're in new terrain. We got to kind of figure it out as we go. It's one thing to produce the show, but it's a whole nother thing to sort of try to figure out how to grow it, and eventually how to monetize it, just for the sake of making it sustainable and growing it to its full potential. So salute to my dogs, man. That's how I'm moving this morning, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And I just want to say, Brad, that Mama Dog Studios, your episodes, is special.
Man, thank you,
And
bro.
I can tell that you did a lot of pre-production and work to get that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Uh-oh, Lex, you cut out for a sec. Or maybe
Nah,
that was just me.
no, I was just saying I could tell it took a lot of pre-production and thought, but it came out excellent.
Man, salute to Corduroy and their whole staff and what they provide. Like that's you know, another learning part of it is like the work spent on the pre-pro side, you know, it frees up, you know, the agility to be displayed in on production days, and then even in post, like the amount of terrain you can afford yourself on the back end if you really spend some time in the pre-pro. And that's not a means of like over planning and all that shit. Is just a means of just really studying and trying to figure out like how to best, have the story translate. And that's getting off on a tangent, but I went down the wormhole. I watched 40 version, and so I went down the wormhole of Hillman grad Lena Waithe. And I hate that I always forget her partner, because her partner is such an integral piece in the whole Hillman grad shit. Like, so if you can find his name, the co-owner of Hillman grad, but the what they're doing in terms of production company. Dreamville just started their production company. Issa Rae's production company is underway. We know what Monkey Paw is doing. Kendrick and Dave Free with PG Lang. We talked about this shit last week, but seeing the creators move into this space of ownership and understanding how much space there is for all of us to exist in that realm and to share resources. And to share resources is so important, man. So I want to salute to them. And honestly, is because from being so inspired from watching them take matters into their own hands is what's gotten me so charged and wanting to take point on how we share our stories, specifically from this region. You figure Dreamville and them, they'll have the Southeast sort of taken care of. Kendrick and them have LA and shit on lock. As will Lena, as will Issa, like they'll all work, and then eventually we'll be able to get with the Tylers and Dave as he builds out his space out in Ohio and stuff. Like everybody's building something, and it's black, and ultimately we'll get to circulate those dollars to where we'll never be seeking validation from whiteness that holds majority of the wealth that allows for the capital to then produce these projects, and I've been saying for a good while, a good portion of our show, why economics is so important as we talk about the advancement of people of color. And I hadn't really done a good job of explaining that or why that's so valuable, as far as I'm concerned, and as a storyteller. And so if we're seeking capital and investors from people who don't value our stories, don't value our lives on a subconscious level, not even to say that it's something that they're conscious of. It's just something that's so ingrained into culture and the society. How could you understand the nuance of why I don't want to oversell and continue to be a part of culture that's selling trauma? I got nieces and nephews and really a lot of youth that we're fortunate to be around, that I don't want them to grow up and have to filter through watching Black people be killed on screen. I want to tell regular ass jokes, regular ass stories that isn't hella dependent upon all this over dramatized like real life shit, because there's real life shit that we could just tell that would have the same impact, if not better, and then leave the genres to the genre. So if we're gonna get a horror story off, nigga, let's fully let us tap into our imagination bag and get that horror story off. But I don't need for just my short film that's not in the horror genre at all to be associated with it, because it's so much gore and so much trauma and shit, bro. The fact that those can exist in sort of equivalent spaces is nuts. And I thought about Get Out this week, thinking about this, like, bro, wait a minute. You turn some everyday basic fears only acquired by Black people specifically, and made that shit a horror film. That shit's brilliant, bro. Those parallels. I just ran into a lady at the coffee shop, bro. White lady, mind you. She picked a random ass thing to make an entry point for a conversation with me. Like I'm peeping all this in real time. It's like, oh yeah, them sweats. I like them sweats. Like what? Like, okay.
Were they great?
And then you did no. No, they weren't. Oh, you're a sicko.
White girls get their little perv off real quick.
Shoot you a shot real quick. Oh, she me too, me and damsel in distress me all in the same shit.
All in one
oh, I see what you did there.
Important.
But G, she goes, I like your sweats. You seen a new Borat? Like, whoa. So you wanted so you wanted to start with that, and then she proceeded to tell me how
first.
Yeah, how uncomfortable it made her. She said the word uncomfortable like 15 times maybe, and we talked for maybe 3 minutes. It made me uncomfortable, and then made it clear, like she felt like she had to clarify that it wasn't her style of humor, and that on the surface it seems really uneducated, but it's deep. Like, why do you feel the need to explain that to me? Like,
Right.
like I don't know this. I don't need no disclaimers around art. I never have, and I never will. And I realize what a privilege that is to like go into something and not need no disclaimer for this shit. Like, I'm not looking for no validation from this piece, and then the fact that it made you uncomfortable. Guess who he was talking to then? You feel me? Like, if that's what you walked away from, and then it fucked her up because I go, well, made you uncomfortable. That's definitely what it was intended to do. Like, that was its intention. I know.
Right.
I said based off of the interview. I listened to him on Mark Maron. I hate that I'm forgetting the comedian's name too, but he's one of the to me he's one of the best thinkers in terms of like just creating those scenarios to force people to consider these sort of the hypocrisy that we live in. And I was like, best case scenario, he wanted people like you to walk away feeling like that. And she was like, just like, I'd never seen nobody that stuck. It was like, I don't know what to tell you after that. Like, if that's how you felt, guess who that was aimed at, you know? And job well done. So I don't even know how the hell we got off on that tangent, but good morning or good afternoon.
Yeah, good luck to them, man. I could not imagine getting older and like my entire life is just been in a headlight this entire time. Like
Man,
I don't
man,
even know what's going on in the underbelly of America. Like look at the news and I'm like, this shit is nuts, and I am at all time fear because in my everyday life I cannot imagine any of these things taking place. So I could only
facts,
I have zero clues. Like that'd be crazy to me.
man.
So that's part of my appreciation of growing up as a 6'5" black male.
I'm
Wouldn't change that.
grateful.
Wouldn't change that for the world. I got my lessons early.
Um, Speaking of lessons, uh, who wants to start in our recap of the Lovecraft finale? Um, we kind of hopped on early, um, in terms of like our excitement and championing the show. Saw it through, and I don't know how y'all watched the finale. I know how I did. Phone off, computer. I didn't want to talk to nobody. And
I was glued.
while I had questions, at no point was there any incentive to want to throw the whole show out. So I ask you, gentlemen, what the hell? How'd you feel? And then how'd you feel? And then damn, how'd you feel? And then no. Start with how you felt first. Let's do that. I don't even know if we can get there without having that discussion first of how you felt.
Well, the beauty of Lovecraft, I can say, especially as the storyline grew, like I would say from the first episode, and then as it grew, maybe from like the seventh through the 10th, um, you kind of feel like you're gravitating towards it, you know, and that's a hard way to write, and even like pull off effectively with like the acting as well. Like everything would have to come in line. I mean, the directing as well. Like, but everything would have to come in line for you to have a gravitational pull to the characters and to what the characters are going through, and feeling as if it's talking to like your soul in a way. You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of how I watched the show. Um, as it grew and as it got further along, I found myself moving closer and closer to the television. Um, so I have to give them their props on that part. But that's kind of how I watched the last episode, in awe of like what was about to take place or whatever. A good amount of it I could see, um, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
For me, I didn't know anybody wanted to throw the show like away. Like To me, the coldest part is if it is one season, it hurts me and that's just the selfish side of me because I want more. But then at the same time, if it is one season, I understand and I get it. And even though I know the whole show, they were telling us he was going to die at the end, still hurt. Like there was no less pain. I was actually really sad about that. And just the way the dad reacted to it. Because he was for sure thinking there was a way that his son was going to live. And then the letter that he wrote to his son, the letter that he wrote to his dad, I was like, oh yeah, that's how like I said, it was great. To me, it was still great writing. Like,
And you know me, but I love when you put time into anything, bro. So like, if you throw a time spectrum in the middle of some shit, like I really enjoy uh, the mom being able to go and get in touch with reality, like different realities, where like how she was moving in this particular uh, time spectrum was with a chest out, and like she moved like with a purpose throughout it, knowing that this is only like one form of how time rolls. Like it's continuous, and it's always something else to. There's always a way to like problem solve something, you know, and that's kind of how I look at time. Period. It's just like there's always a way to solve whatever problem you are dealing with. Only time you can't solve it is when you start breathing. In my thought process, like so that's kind of how like I looked at all of that too, like is how it's like how she was dealing with her daughter and like picking her back up, and you see like how once she introduced it to her, she went off, you know what I mean? Like so it was interesting to be able to teach that to somebody young at the time that they needed it most before they can get into like that whole lull of thinking that you know this world is over while you're still breathing. You know what I mean? Like that was interesting to me too. So I think there was a bunch of takeaways. A lot of stuff that they were getting across. Different storylines on top of like the main storyline that was taking place.
mhm.
Nah, that's damn. So same, similar for me. Um, I was ultimately too though fascinated by like some of the choices. They This just bold. Like what empowers you as a storyteller eventually to lean on some of those choices and decisions, especially when the stakes are that high. And how do you combat that? Right. So to me, it felt like they did a really good job of just like leaning on their square and going, no, this is what we're going to do. And this is why we're going to do it. Am I breaking up?
Mm.
I good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like some of those scenes and some of those shots. But then if I'm trying to see and really understand some of the critiques, I can also get why, why people are confused. Like it's requiring a level of patience as a storyteller that I don't think we've asked or we've had the courage to ask in a really, really long time. Um, in terms of so much offering so much and not shortchanging you as a means to play on this current state of how we share and tell stories. Like normally it's like, all right, well, forget it. We'll compromise the entire story as a means just to get everything in, whatever that looks like, and lean on your ability to sort of assume or oh no, I gotta turn this shit off. Um, lean on your ability to assume and sort of speculate, right? And just it was dope that the show kind of removed that whole hemisphere of speculation until this last episode, and then it's like, all right, now you can speculate, but it's gonna come at a supreme price. I don't know. I was ultimately happy with that though. Any wild suggestions for or any wild sort of hot takes for what you think season 2 might bring, or if there will be a season 2?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think season two would be more inclined to go down a route of like the lady raising the child. I get that part.
Mm.
Um, but and then also how much the mom and daughter can do with this, like being in all these different places at once. That'll be interesting. Like
Mm.
I think they'll open that up a lot. Um, and then also how, like, what other spells now that they have, now that Letty is like a beast at this, at getting like her growth and learning uh the book, I think is going to be a huge point. Because I think she, in a way quicker than even Atticus, as somebody that was attached to. I think he was too close, with too much turmoil built up to that point for him to actually let go until the very end. With dealing with his pops and stuff like that, like there was a lot of things that was distracting him. As Letty being more of a purebred that, um, when she fucks up, she fucks up. Like, and so that kind of like makes her growth be a little bit quicker, especially. So I think that's probably something they'll touch on if they do a season two. I think that's something they'll touch on. It's just hard getting great at the damn book of spells.
Yeah, I think that it's most. I feel like they should follow the daughter a lot and just her because it seemed like she like now that she's figured out shit, she's on a whole new path now, just with her understanding of life. And now that her mom taught her how this time is, that they could go, they could do so much with her since she's young, and they could just play on that with experiencing different lives. And even if she wanted to go all the way back to like when she was born or something like that, it's just now it's like a free for all in a way with so much shit they can do.
Yeah, the daughter has a potential to be very dangerous,
Yeah,
given what she's experienced to this point. Uh, and that's kind of like, it kind of leads into a topic that I had on here. Um, but that topic was the problem with introducing racial issues to people too early.
Mm.
Um, the like allowing a kid to be a kid, is super important. And us as adults tend to put them into the mix of racial issues at a way earlier than they need to. Like, I think about back when the protests was happening over the summer, and just seeing the imagery of the young the little girl that was like had all this passion while marching.
Mm.
And I was thinking of it, and I was like, geez, like she's utilizing her own individual passion for something that she doesn't fully understand yet. So
mm,
like somebody instilled in her a level of adult,
Instilled or projected?
projected a level of racial issues in her, that she would even feel that at this age. Whether, I don't know if she's seen to this point, so she could have seen something that was damaging already, but the level of emotion that she was projecting, that she was putting together in that moment, really threw me off.
Mm.
Like everybody else is like in awe and bigging it up that she's out there protesting like that, but I'm thinking like, well, that's a little ass girl, bro. Like, why is she in the mix like this? And that's kind of what I think about with that, with the daughter being on time travel. But before then, her going through the whole thing with the cops and them spitting on her, and then creating that, the two twins that was following her and shit like that, and then her changing, and then the arm dying, arm staying dead or whatever, and then having to switch that out to the robotic thing. So I'm thinking all of that eventually can twist up the brain, like the way that she did the white lady, even though it's like all right, this is white people have been doing this to us for such and such amount of time, so it shouldn't, mean anything to you that she does something like that back to them. I think a little bit more beyond that is that to this point, how do you stop that? Like if you have the ultimate power, how do you dial it back if you have, if your pull and your draw is a little further along. So I think that she might be thinking about doing some wild shit that good luck trying to stop her at this point.
Yeah, and so not and I don't want to, the word critique doesn't sound, it doesn't do it full service. I'm thinking of it more as in terms of like, because I had something similar too. Checks, balances, emotions. It's supposed to be a whole checks and balances system, but how you can't really do checks and balances if we negate the information and go straight to emotion. And the facts are, the facts are just like shit's sick, and it's like let's match said sickness. Let's one up it. Let's show imagery. I guess with that character, and to your point, she Dee's existence, like it all happened fast too, where she loses Emmett to something catastrophic. She loses her dad. Like all these things happen fairly close, and then potentially loses her mother, and then has an encounter with the cops, and then then inherits these demons that are following her around and torturing her. So it's all some life changing shit, and sort of shapes her. Um, what if a few of those things go different? Is her outlook, does she make the decision to kill Christina at the end? Like if she doesn't lose her dad, if she doesn't lose Emmett, like maybe she lifts those rocks up instead of killing. You know what I'm saying? I just think about like shit like that in terms of when you talk about just passing down. Are you passing down fight and fight, like the passion? For whatever reason, I feel like that's a completely different thing than passing down uncontrollable, non-solution based uh, fear and emotion. Calculated passion and fire. I'm here for. Um, but that also might be some mad wishful thinking on my part. I'm open to that too. But I also have seen what reserve and ability to process and sort of have some agility and maneuver through, which is what the show was sort of leaning upon, where we're starting to come a lot more solution based and a lot less emotional than it started out as. Watch the evolution of Atticus's character and his affinity and respect for his father ultimately, for both his potential dads, whether it be um, uh, George
George.
or what was his pop's name? Montrose, excuse me, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just watching those happen in real time, especially when they're with such polarizing character traits that we see today. Where it is something is polarizing as sexual identity that ultimately don't have shit to do with us and shouldn't have any input on how we interact with um, another individual. It We'd be lying if we said that wasn't such an integral piece of society today, and we still haven't cracked that simple ass code, and it's so simple. Like humanity, rules of humanity is like let them rock, and vice versa. I expect the same terrain, but because what we don't, if we fear what we don't understand, there's this constant need to force and force projections. And it's a real tricky volatile time, and you can feel that shit in the air, bro. You can. And so that's why like checks and balances, or checks, balances, and emotions. Like we got to completely rewrite that, because all of this right now, the political jargon, the amount of marketing dollars that are spent for emotionally driven emotionally driven rhetoric. It's not, there's no regard for whether that shit's written in any truth or nothing like that. It's just like, bro, we here we are, you know, and it communicates everything extremely, for me at least.
Completely. And I think each generation has like its own post to it too. And I think that in within that post there has to be a way to channel whatever energy is created in that particular generation. I
Hmm.
can't say that the way that it was in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. I can't say that each one should carry over the exact same type of energy, even though there was a certain level of disdain and horror, really, that was presented to a particular group of people. I think as we've gotten further along, there's a need to know a lot about history, but then there's also a need to know a lot about what future we are expecting for us all. And with that being the case, it's going to be a duality thing where you have
Hmm.
to keep a you have to keep a you have to keep a hand on the pulse of the past, and you have to be able to navigate and channel a certain level of energy going towards the future. Because if we were to use the exact same energy that was used against us before, then best believe the
Expect the same
level.
results.
Yeah, but also best believe, understand that the people that you're dealing with, if we used us as African Americans, if you use the energy that was given to you from the past, like people put this, like directed this towards you and tried to kill you off and everything like that, you're talking about years of issues and trauma. If we
Yeah.
were to use that in the same capacity that it was used on us, this whole thing is over with. You know
Over.
what I mean? Like
Over.
it's too much. It's too much built up, pinned up energy
Yeah.
that if we were to just use that all at one good time, this whole thing blows the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be the same. It's not gonna be an eye for an eye type of deal. It's gonna
Not
be
at all.
literally this entire thing is over because that we are not gonna know how to stop. And that tends to happen a lot within our culture, that we don't know when the end is supposed to be until until it's too late. You know what I mean? So I think that's something.
Damn, G. Um, hmm.
But I fuck with the energy. I never say I don't fuck with the energy. I definitely do that. But I think there's just, like you said, calculated ways of going about it where you don't have to present your entire ball of energy at once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
that's wasteful. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that over time we've been able to put together such a large just section of energy. I think that you can kind of unravel that as you go and use it as you please in
Yeah.
order to be able to pass it down to more generations that can take it and run with it. You know, I think that's a better way to do it than just blow it all up at once.
Well, how, so
It's not a Kamehameha, you know, for the people that watch Dragon Ball Z. It's not a
mm,
Kamehameha type of deal, bro. Kamehameha that blew up the earth, nigga, plenty of times.
well, I guess this would be a really good place to pivot and sort of ask, and we two roads, right? Because I thought, I don't know if y'all got to catch Ye and Rogan's dialogue. I thought it was informative, and there were some really good takes in there.
Joe
But
Rogan?
yeah,
Oh,
um, but for and this is weird to say, but I'm gonna go for bang for your buck as far as like time and investing in sort of having a larger, clearer, matured thought process. The Chappelle Letterman conversation did what the Rogan interview did in 3 hours. That one did it in 45 or whatever.
Bro, that guy, whenever he talks, man, it is straight to the point.
And so
There's nothing missing in it.
at
Like
all, that is,
every
thank you,
single
G.
word is for a reason.
That was my point. I was trying to figure out how to say exactly that. It's so straight to the point, and I think youth has this, and youth meaning like, especially where I'm at. Like, granted, I'm getting older, but there's a lot more maturing to do. So I'll say immaturity. Immaturity leans on stuffing stats, if you will, and saying hella shit. To whereas maturity and wisdom does everything you trying to do in fewer words. So there's no terrain to confuse nothing I said. Nothing. And it also is real patient and not so dependent upon being right in the present. It's 100% attached to inclusivity in the future, right? So you may say some shit right now that's going to cause you some discomfort and impact your popularity or your status. But what that'll do for inclusivity in the future is way more valuable than your fucking status and your popularity or your how close you are to being famous in real time, bro. Like I that's what I felt watching Dave speak. Um, he's 100% playing a futuristic game, but he's so present. He has the ability to be extremely present, but ultimately his words are carving out more terrain to include way more people in on the conversation in the future and bring people together that didn't know that they were divided. Like, there are people that don't know that they harness certain stereotypes or certain so oh, what's the word, guys? These, oh man, I can't even think of the word, but these how we these assumptions about other these prejudices, there we go, these prejudices about other people, we don't even know we possess them until we're in a space or until someone says something that makes us uncomfortable or that we don't agree with in that present moment, and now it's to hell with them, you know. And where Dave is coming from, or how he speaks, or how thoughtful, or how much depth there is, allows for you to feel offended, process it, internalize it however you want to, and then show up the next time however you want to. And then the next time you get faster, you get faster, you get faster, you get faster. And society is sort of working the opposite way, is where it's making you way more sensitive and way more emotional because the information is so polarized. To L's point last week, there's so much information, there's space to now completely go past the overstimulating us and over-educating us to just giving us the wrong shit. And there's no one there to clean up the dirty work on the back end, to where it's like, now let's make a mess on the front end so that the back end is like clear of all the debris. So how he chooses to interact with the LGBTQ community and sort of, and I don't know, it's a love language of sorts to poke fun and to invite and to ultimately invite in, you know. So that's I just thought that was dope. What
Yeah.
did either of you get to see the Rogan and Ye?
I didn't.
I missed the Rogan and Ye one.
Oh, go ahead, G.
I didn't even know that was going on.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They kind of hinted at it earlier in the week, and then really let it be known like a few hours before, and then I think it was a real flex in regards to like both of their pool that they dropped when they did on a Saturday and did the views. I think they did 3.9 yesterday.
God damn.
On a Saturday, guys. I want to think about that. Saturday, they're in Texas time, so you got to figure it's like mid-morning, just afternoon. They drop, so morning on the West Coast, late afternoon on the East Coast, God knows what, wherever in other regions, and they do 3.9 on a Saturday. when the numbers or the analytics will tell you that people, one, aren't watching anything long form, that the consumer has ADD and ain't nobody watching or listening to no long ass podcasts. That's what we hear. I don't know if you guys get that in regards to our show. It's like, why y'all do a 2-hour show? It's like, bro, there are people that tap in. Like the retention rate for our show, the average is like 35 plus right now. And then people are going back and completing it at their own pace. But even that is like, wow, there's information that you need. But Joe and Ye pull up and they did 3 hours, y'all, and 3.9 million views in just that short amount of time. And what you can work through, and the clarity, and how you can double back as far as like thoughts and ideas, and intent, in spaces like that, I believe are beautiful. But it also opens you up and exposes you. I don't know if y'all feel like this, but where we hella exposed on this long ass show. Ain't no telling what my goofy ass might say some days. And I'd be like, man, and genuinely, I felt if anybody knew me, it'd be like, bro, money don't mean no harm. But if somebody doesn't know me, tapped into this show, and we get to talking about liberals and all this shit, and like, okay, this nigga sounds wild.
Yeah.
It's like, but there's so much more context to that.
Yeah, no, the amount of times that somebody will bring up something that was said and you be completely confused, because you gotta tell me like when that was actually said.
What episode, what's the timestamp, and I got like, oh, that was just a thought in that moment, but this is how I feel now.
The context, like, but a good amount of it, for the most part, is like all shit that is nothing that really needs to go back on, but I can offer more information on it if like you give me an understanding of like when that actually was and what mind I was in at that moment, then I could definitely help you out with understanding what exactly I was talking about.
And that's what Ye and Rogan attempted to do with the slavery as a choice thing. And immediately that clip came out, started to go viral, and Van Lathan retweeted and said, I was there. That is not, Van retweeted it and said, I was there. That is not how that happened. And so Van's 100% true. He was there. Nobody can tell him how he was supposed to feel or none of that. I'm rolling.
Van was at the show?
Van, he was, because Ye said the slavery was a choice shit at TMZ. That's when Van
was actually on, like, he commented on it then.
Rogan asked Ye about it. Or no, he didn't even ask him, but he was asking about something else, and Ye looped that back in and was going, and Rogan went, oh, so you didn't mean people being stolen from islands on ships and all that was a choice. You meant making decisions that would put you in confinement is a choice. And he was like, yeah, that's why I posted my contract that had 10 other contracts inside of it. I made a choice to leverage all of that shit for fame, to leverage with the labels. And so for me, I guess I heard accountability in that, but so many people heard backpedaling or trying to sort of dress up such a shitty real-time comment. And I genuinely heard someone taking accountability for the choices they made in the modern era to still be enslaved mentally, and how that can happen, and how we're still making those choices whether we know it or not, right? I don't know, bro. It was a real fascinating exchange. I do enjoy the way both of those gentlemen work through things. I also enjoy the duality and the spectrum of, Rogan sort of identifying as an everyday dude who works really hard, who's dependent upon luck, and Ye sort of balancing with this God complex and subscription to spirituality. Like it's real fascinating because both of them are living in both of them are displaying, for me at least, both of them are displaying this real thin line and this real delicate balance, with Joe subscribing to just doing the work, but also going, I'm still kind of lucky, and then Ye going, nah, I give all honor and thanks to God, but I'm working in unison with God, type shit. It's fun. It's really funny how both of those are totally two opposite ends in the spectrum, but so the same fucking thing, and why they seem to hit it off so well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I didn't.
I wonder if, like, this is a question for the group, but I wonder if that may be like the Van Lathan thing. There could it be that it's due to being in a certain position where you have to, or you tend to decide to look at and listen to a lot of the public in your line of work, that will then, uh, I guess, push your views a little bit stronger. So, like, if Van heard something a certain type of way, he would have to respond on the button, because he's somebody that would be looking at his comments a lot more often than a Ye would, maybe. So when Ye says something, he probably doesn't realize that he said it to the extent of what he said it to, or how it's being viewed from the public just yet, because Ye basically hears what Ye says. Did I lose somebody?
Um,
Yeah, I got Lex twice. So I guess we lost somebody.
oh, there he goes.
You back. Hey, Bach.
But he's muted.
You still on
Did
mute,
it
though.
did it did it kick y'all out or did it stay?
We
Nah,
stayed.
we stayed. You was
Oh,
gone.
okay, cool. Okay, cool. I thought I was, nigga, I had a panic. I was like, not again, bro. Even on Zoom, niggas can't get it off. Like, this is getting out of hand, yo.
Yeah, man. We about to be cursed, fellas.
Good night. I
Who
was
put the
about to
juju
say,
on us? Who put the bad
man.
juju on us?
OG,
Um,
chopping up game too hard.
Hey,
hey, G, but I hate that it did it right there, because you was getting to it. Do you please tell me you kind of remember what you were saying?
yeah. No, I was saying that could it be possible that the way that Van heard it is, in a way that he's held on to it, has a lot to do with the fact that he reads and listens to the general public a lot more than Ye would, or Ye would know. So when Ye says something, he says it from a space of, this is how I feel, this is what I'm mulling over, um, and take it as is. But I have room eventually to maybe have a changed stance. But as of right now, this is how I'm rolling. But not hearing what the backfire is from the public, so can
But
continue to do it that way.
I think you onto something, G. What is the backlash really, right? So again, it's kind of like that idea, like it's gonna cost you some shit up front. You're gonna have to leverage the idea of being popular and say some radical shit, and sort of invoke
Right.
radical change. Like, you're gonna have to say something. You're gonna have to really push the meter. I don't know if you can really do that with the idea of wanting to remain popular or remain cool.
Mm-hmm.
To just to force a different type of dialogue. And there is this need, and I don't want to completely shit on the church, but I do believe it was built in the church to sort of share, that we have a comfort around people who present, at the very least, present themselves,
I think we lost you again, man.
Yeah.
whether that's uh-oh, you lost me.
Yeah, we lost
Nothing.
you for a second.
I'm
You
back.
back? Yeah.
Okay. There's nothing to suggest that that's an actual fact, though. There's nothing to suggest that that's an actual fact, that the people pretending to fight for us and want our liberties, there's no way to to actually, there's no fact there's no facts or information to lean on, any numbers, any analytics, none of that, any data to suggest that these things are in place for the advancement and the guarantee for the shift in the position that Black people have in this country in particular. So that's from your Dems. That's for Green Party. Any of that shit. There's nothing that suggests that they're not just as attached to capitalism as the right is. The right just ain't beating around the bush about this shit.
Right.
And so now that's kind of where it's forcing us to ask these questions that we should have been asking all along. And in fairness to our leaders that have been romanticized, they at the end of their lives were all asking these questions exactly. Where the money at? Who had? Oh, okay, that's who has it. The quote unquote enemy. Those who have been who have been propped up as the enemy to Black people. That's where it exists. That's who I have to go have a conversation with. Bet. And they once they begin to interact with the quote unquote enemy, there was actual solutions being thrown out as opposed to emotion. Again, emotionally driven rhetoric that had no solution as far as like propping up Black people and giving us more access to resources. So now they got to die because they figured it out that the quote unquote enemy really ain't the motherfucker you need to be worried about. It's that who is presented themselves as your ally, who has been undermining you the entire time. I don't know. I found that dialogue. I found both Letterman, Chappelle, West, and Rogan fascinating for that regard. Just for alternative means of processing. Kariga and Felicia Bailey, I talk about them all the time, but it's really because I'm getting to watch them develop a curriculum that really is beneficial to Black people overall. And that's really the trick, if you want to call it a trick. That really is the play, that really is the journey, is to find something, invent something, or not even invent, because I don't know if invention is the right word, but at least uncover something and nurture it to its full capacity to be able to offer Black people an alternative means to evolve. And we've never seen proper. Gee, I tell you this all the time. I've never seen nobody heal themselves, my nigga. Not the right way, or whatever that means, right or wrong. But I do know I did watch you do the work, and I don't know if there's any argument against doing the work, because the work is undefeated. Like, if you just gonna put yourself back together, my nigga, I gotta respect that more than what the final outcome is, because you doing the work. And what's to say the final outcome has actually come, but what has arisen from these beginning stages of doing the work is fucking impressive. So, and maybe that's just a singular thing that I share. I have an affinity for the process because there's so much information in the actual process that you can't really get from just presenting me the finished product of LG. Like I don't, the finished product of you does something. It has some impact, because it's another Black man that has figured it out. But the court side view, nigga, of the work hit different. Cause now I can't sleep in, not work out, not read, and then go, man, why he get it and I didn't? Fam, you gotta miss me with that, bro. You gotta miss me with folding your arms and looking at the next man going, well, why he got this and I don't? That nigga did the work, bro.
Completely. That's all it is.
Did the work. So I'm telling Fee and Reeg, I'm like, it really, if I'm gonna be a shitty friend, a shitty partner, and just overall just a shitty individual, I don't get to be their friend for real and watch them publicly heal and do the work that it takes to heal, not show any cowardice in that. Actually show the ultimate strength on doing it on a public platform. Like that shit, that's power. They don't want to see that. A few nights ago, we had a real heated debate about the nip shit, and I was just saying how angry I get whenever I hear racks in the middle. And I ultimately didn't articulate it well to the group. What I was trying to, in my emotionally driven statement, I was trying to say I feel responsible for the way that he died. Such because of how important his messaging was, his programming, how he was working to offer different symbolism than we've ever seen before. For him to die in such an inhumane way is it's had a lasting impact on me personally, to where you go, well, fam, if he can do the work that he did and believe the principles that he believed in and be executed and all of them be working and then be murdered in such an inhumane way, what does that mean for all of us going forward? And that's whenever I hear racks in the middle, I think of that. So it's like we're watching the video and it's like, dog, please don't turn it on. Please don't like, because he's gone. Like, granted, it's gonna live forever, but he did the way he's immortalized now is that's the cost. Like, that's the cost for meaning that much to a particular group of people. Like, you could be executed like that, disregarded, and we just move on, and then I'll just play the song and that's it. No, man, it's there's got to be more. There's somebody's got to answer for that. In my estimation, someone absolutely has to answer for that shit. And that's not even just him. Somebody has to answer for George Floyd. Somebody has to answer for Breonna Taylor. I'm not asking the district attorney to give us a solution we know he can't give because of the political structure, because of the money situation in Kentucky. That man don't have that power. So stop showing me that man face and going, that's not no, we got a whole larger fight, because don't nobody feel like they got to answer for just murdering Black people. That's the real of it. But we always need a villain. We need a physical villain to sort of make this make sense for us. And because niggas don't believe in ghosts, they can't just subscribe to the idea that the enemy don't have a face.
Right.
It's impossible for them to even begin to wrap their mind around that. We literally can't see the motherfucker we're at war with, because they think it's Trump, and I'm like, no, it ain't it. They think it's the Trump supporters. I'm like, no, it ain't it. But now I sound like the one who has it wrong. It's like, nah, bro, we fighting something completely different. How the fuck did we get there?
That was from Ye and Rogan.
There we go. That's exactly it. Staying in that realm, because there's this dance with fame and all of those spots. Gee, you had two of my favorite subjects of the week that I completely forgot about. The Sada Baby shit, and then the Steph and Aisha shit. Like, that fame shit, bro. We got to talk about that, because from my estimation, bro, what I'm seeing is that the fame, but specifically grown ass men, and what they're willing to do in and around the perception of fame. Whoo, that shit seems so deadly, bro. The false equivalent with freedom that exists around it is I think is the most polarizing part of that equation. And so when I think about somebody as insanely talented as Sada Baby, and just how that thing works, how that machine works, in these thoughts, these ideas, and how little value we place on our presence. And so you're just liable to say something because you don't value this presence shit at all. You really own the concept, like, yo, I could be famous, nigga, so I'm gonna say anything just to get it lit and go fuck being present right now and unraveling and problem solving this in real time. So I'm gonna just say anything. When I saw the tweets of Side, well, I'll ask you first, G. How did what happened first for you? Like, did you hear about it? Did you see it? Did you even read all of them? How did you experience Sada Baby? For those who don't know, Detroit rapper Sada Baby, fucking insanely talented. Insanely talented. Freak put me on during tour at the golly. Freak put me on during tour. That was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And we just I couldn't stop listening because I don't think I'd heard anything like that. It was just kind of, again, polarizing. And watching his ascension, and then we get back from tour, champagne party at Teen's house, and then as we're listening to Pimp, it was like a
damn.
Yeah, you're breaking out, man.
This is the dude. Like, this is the dude. Damn, again.
You're breaking out, man.
My bad. I'm back.
Yeah, you back.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. This internet, everything. What is the last thing you heard?
Freak was on tour 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, tour. We get back from tour, champagne party at Teen's house. We're listening to Pip Name Drip That. Sudi called Sato on FaceTime, and it was like, that's the guy. And so just watching his ascension, watching how fast it is, and watching people interact with it, go, damn, how is this street nigga gonna cross over? And then Whole Lot of Choppers breaks last week. We talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whole lot of choppers breaks, and then as it's breaking,
bro,
they're digging up his tweets
simultaneously.
Yeah.
Simultaneous, bro. You got people that just be waiting, bro. Like, hey, you take off if you want to.
You think they had that folder ready already?
Oh, they did,
bro. That's a full-time job. Like for folks to see like who's coming, who's next, and who
the
just
Crusaders.
Might just, oh man, so they already got that that's already ready to go.
And the fucked up thing is, a lot of them don't be caring about shit. A lot of them be trying to extort the person. They be in their DMs, look, we about to put out these old tweets unless you pay us.
Probably. I'm pretty sure that
what is that?
Part of it. But
what does that do for you?
That's just trying to get a little money under the table. Other than that, it's just creating this wild storm. I think people get a gratification out of just doing that, like just having it be where everybody's talking about it, and it ain't got to come back to you necessarily, but that's just how sick you are as an individual, that somehow, some way you feel like you did that. You might be able to tell people around you that you probably can get credit from the people around you, like, I'm the one that started that shit, like, you know what I mean? But that on a scale, like on a wide scale, it ain't that big of a deal. But people will do less for just a little bit of attention. It don't matter for who. It's just they'll do less, bro. Then something this big, they keep doing things this big. You know what I mean? Where that's enough for them. For some people, that get zero attention.
How did fame turn into a commodity? I guess is the real
question. Shit. Anything is a commodity that people put enough into. Like as long as there's people that become famous, that only give you the like what the perks of fame. As long as there's people that are in constant pursuit of fame, just for like we had a while ago, the 15 minutes of fame shit. As long as there's people that still want that, everybody wants that now. So as long as there's enough of a stock in it, then it's going to be something that you can monetize. As long as labels want you to get hot first, you know what I mean, before you hit their door.
Hey, go get hot real quick.
Don't get
I
hot,
got
man.
just the thing. Talk about killing Beyonce. What? How does your brain go? Oh man, it's heartbreaking.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Isn't like a natural thought that your brain just goes to just put out there to the world? You know what I mean? Like I doubt that that's the case. I think that's literally fire this off real quick and have a few people talk about it, drop something, they associate the two, and then that shit becomes hot. And then never thinking that you'll ever be TikTok hot. You know what I mean? Like you didn't think TikTok was gonna
Never
fire
even
you off.
considered that.
Never even considered that.
So
TikTok wasn't even around at that time. You know what I mean?
True. So maybe that's not the right question to ask.
I have a question to ask.
Go ahead.
Do you guys think it might also have to do with the fact that people want to be next to something great? Like,
how so in this capacity? How does that apply to this?
okay, for example, like, know how Elle said they get to be the person in their circle saying they're the ones that quote unquote expose Sada Baby. So now their name is next to something as great as him. Like, they feel like in some strange way that they're the same.
Yeah, that could fire off to the whole pass or having sex with the same group of people. You know what I mean? Like when they go and mess with the same chick that somebody else messed with. You know, just because just to associate the names with each other, compare and contrast from there. It could be the same. You know.
Way to call it back, Al.
Way to call it back.
You feel me? You feel me? I like the. But before we get to more about the fame stuff, the two things that Dave said that was just like,
oh yeah,
bro, just so appreciative of just a Dave mind and being able to go to Ohio and be himself. But he said that the more you invest into yourself as a celebrity, the less of yourself you get to own. That shit is dire for anybody that's putting stock in the celebrity portion of things. You know what I mean? Like folks they like being, the status of it because you get access to things that you otherwise would not get access to. So that part of it is perfectly fine. It's just more so trying to leverage the celebrity because the more you continuously have to put into that portion of things, the less you can actually be able to say, the less you can actually be able to do, the less you can actually be able to be a part of in front of the public eye. You know what I mean? Like, you can do all kinds of shit behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like only some people only the Will Smiths of the world will give you access to what they're actually doing behind the scenes sometimes.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like when he was doing the whole sword thing in the restaurant for the champagne or the wine bottle or whatever. The shit that the staff would let them do, like that shit that celebrity allow you to do, but you would never know if that's what they're allowing them to do up inside the spots, you know what I mean? And then the other thing was, and for him specifically, it is something that people that are gravitating towards fame should probably start thinking about their pockets of places that they are not famous in. You know what I mean? Like he said, fame evaporates with regularity. Bro, that was 4 words that was so effective. So him being back home allows him to, the rest of the public doesn't treat him as Dave. He was like, bro, the people was probably here for you more than they're here for me.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like,
like
they know me. They're here for you.
Man, like, bro, like I'll be around, bro. Like they see me on a regular. I'm not the famous Dave around here. You know what I'm saying?
Such a beautiful mind, bro. That entire exchange was like just so many gems. Like that both that and the Ye shit. Like I just at certain points you do have to start taking notes because it's that many. It's like a world class seminar that you like. Yo, why do I get access to this? And I wonder. I had one more question about the Sada shit. Is like, because you said something to you like, yo, you don't know you're gonna be TikTok hot, but is there do you do things like that? Granted, it's trolling. You want to create a moment, but are you also in a space of like, man, this shit ain't gonna ever work? Is that why you say stuff like that too, like subconsciously? Because it's like at some point you're gonna have to answer for that shit, right? But what if you don't believe this shit could really take off the way that it has taken off for him? What if he always knew? It's one thing to know you tight. It's another thing to know that you're gonna ascend and occupy those spaces where you'll be able to leverage how tight you think you are.
Bro, you gotta witness people's backgrounds, bro. Like where some people are coming from, there's no real belief that you're going to be any level higher than just in your local area. You know what I mean? Like that's not really fathomable, even though you can try to act as if there is such larger. You know, like when you are a local artist, um, you're come across with the mentality as if you're larger than the local space in order to get there. But you never really know if you're going to be larger in local space. That's up to the public to tell you. I mean, to let you know if that's going to be the case. You know what I mean? Like you can't really, or somebody could push a button on you, but that's not really you gravitate or just moving over into like the public atmosphere. Like sometimes that shit just happens, and when that shit happens, you better hope that you was true to yourself the entire time. Like I hope that Sade was true to himself in that moment. Like he said what he said after the fact, and that's kind of when you asked me what part did I come in on, and the part that I came in on was this first response to everybody talking about it, and him saying that he doesn't work his account, he hasn't been on his account or anything like that, yeah, and brushing it off, you know. And then the secondary one, I still hadn't seen the tweets, but the secondary one of him going into a more of an apologetic route because of the status that he occupies now.
Is it? What do you think that phone call was? It's like,
Oh,
and how long do you
bro,
think it took them to convince him that he had to fake apologize because he still didn't apologize?
right. It was just a little bit further along than his first one. I would say, shit. You remember watching Kevin Hart's documentary, and when he had the whole scandal go on, and how stubborn he was to listening to the fact that he was wrong in any kind of way, to the point where he was like, "Bro, like I get what y'all saying, but I have no ill intent or malice about this, and I don't give a fuck about what the public is talking about right now." You know what I mean? But at some point, it registered that, my nigga, you have more than just you to deal with right now. You know what I mean? Like this isn't a Kev onslaught right now. This is literally you have people working for you on a constant basis that are also going to be affected in this particular moment. You know what I mean? So,
Don't you dare start playing with nobody money. You gonna apologize,
bro,
regardless of
that's
what you
it.
say. You
That's it.
gonna you gonna say sorry right now to Beyonce and everything.
And that's it.
Watching with fame too, and this isn't self inflicted. This is just like this is on some like, bro, we just showed up type shit, and y'all shooting at us. Poor Aisha and Steph, bro. Like I I
I have a
I don't
wild theory about that, bro.
hit me. I'm interested. Hit me because I don't know what else to say.
All right, only because like I remember um I had this sales gig over in Wanna Creek, and I remember how it was when because I had just played like Steph in the tournament or whatever when he was playing for what's the name for the fuck school they school so close I
Davidson,
forgot. Davidson,
Davidson.
Davidson, an attorney, and then Waxers, bro. That nigga had 40 by halftime, I think. But I remember that shit. Like right, so when he came into the spot, I was just like, "What's up, bro?" But like the way that everybody else was like reacting to him being there, and like how it was just like a red carpet, bro. You should have seen the increments in which people showed up. So like it was like initially it was his agent came in and said that, oh, he's about to come in, blah blah blah. So set up the shop for him, whatever, for him to look around. And then next was Aisha with at that point I think it was Riley in a stroller came in. And then after that group came in, it was Steph came in. And then you should have seen like it was the store closed down or whatever, nothing in there, no one in there or anything like that. And then over time, the word spread, and you should have seen the level like there was hundreds of people in that damn parking lot, that was just standing in the glass area looking at this brother's shop. You know what I mean? So like, um, the and then the way that the other employees and stuff like that was working and like like it was just like it came to me. I was like, fuck, like for one, and when Aisha, it was that like 2 years ago or whatever years ago that was when Aisha was talking about the like the uh she wished that dudes would at least like attempt to talk to her, you know what I mean? So like it just make her feel as if she has some level of something, you know what I mean? Like it isn't just Steph Curry's wife and stuff like that, you know, like the level of respect for him is crazy. And it just came to me, I was like, fuck, like for Aisha, this has to be nuts because it's not often where somebody is completely untouchable from any level of critiquing. Like people love Steph across the board so fucking much that naturally hate has to rest somewhere and it has to go somewhere. It can, that brother is
Hate has to rest
untouchable.
somewhere,
It
nigga.
has to
Yo,
rest somewhere. So that brother is untouchable. Like there is nothing he like the only person that was as untouchable as Steph is Jesus at the resurrection. Like that's how untouchable Steph is, bro. Like you don't you there's nothing that you can say about brother. So if that's the case, then naturally hate has to go towards Aisha, which fucks up the whole spectrum. Like it fucks up it's a fucking
bro.
it,
So I'm thinking when you say it like that, G, I'm definitely thinking. I'm thinking poor Curry's, but I'm also thinking poor Steph because he fighting against shit that don't have nothing to do with him. He good husband, he good everything, and Aisha post something and got to deal with these hating ass folks, and so now
nonstop,
whatever may arise, he's got to answer for.
always.
Man,
Always, man. It's gonna be constant for the rest of their lives because no one will ever say an ill word about Steph. If you do, you're gonna get the hate for the rest of your life type of shit like Brian got when he brought it to everybody's attention that, bro, do you understand that he gets no critique? Like when that nigga lost, you just said that he was hurt. Like he was hurting during that game. That's the reason why you said that he lost that championship. That's what you got out of that. Like you don't say anything else, huh? Okay, that's interesting. You know, like that's kind of how like the how it goes, bro. Like kids was talking about what are those on Michael
on this,
Jordan's feet, but it's like nothing about Steph shit. Like when Steph shit
hey,
first came out,
that's
bro, them shits
still
was trash.
That's still made it. That still made it to
But
me. The kids turn to what are those? What are those to the J's? Like
bro, to the
that's how
J's,
you.
bro,
That's when I knew. That's when I knew
to
the
the man
world was
himself.
ending. The nigga who came and gave y'all the game. Y'all playing what are those on MJ? That's crazy.
Yeah, but the world got to be upside down, man. If Aisha like as beautiful as Aisha is, and that's not talking about another man's wife or anything like that, but as beautiful as she is, like it's crazy that you would make up a way to say anything about her particular beauty when you have, you know, and this isn't to put them in it either, but the Kardashians who have gone for the Beyonce look multiple times. They bring it up, but it doesn't get wildfire. You know what I mean? Like it's just like 2 seconds on, 2 seconds off.
Man, well, what do you? So I mean, is it is it responsible for us to attack that as men? Not to attack that, to offer commentary and around that because I want to talk about it, but I also would like to do it in a responsible space with a woman. Um, in terms of security. Hold on 1 second, y'all.
Hmm. Hey Lex,
Yes, sir.
hey man, I did not know that this was your full day, man.
Oh shit.
That I was like, bro, what? This is is that Greek?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I like that's for sure like a Greek god name, man. I fuck with it.
Good looking. It's cold because between Monty and then the homie DB, they were both like, bruh, you just need to start using your full name.
You got
Quit
to,
using
man. Like just for something. Even if you create like a company real
Young
quick that got like got your shit across, just plastered across it. Fuck with
Alexius, we doing numbers. Um, I was saying in regards to the makeup, um, and I don't literally mean like physical makeup. I mean like the commenting on looks, aesthetics, beauty, what have you. And you said it like as beautiful as she is. We can say as men, what is she pursuing? I imagine there are like conversations where reaffirming for Steph, where he's like, "Babe, I love you as you are." Um, is that are we allowed to say that that should be enough? Right? It's like like you want to reaffirm and go, nah, I'm forget what everybody else is talking about and or what we've collectively deemed um, a beauty measurable, and then we still haven't even gotten to the whole complex and around black and how we identify or associate beauty and marketing and advertisement and just society as a whole. Like we still haven't even gotten to that point and like the facts of that. So is there any space for us as men to be like, babe, it's don't obsess over it? Like I don't know. I don't know. I would like for it to be, but is how responsible is that?
I don't think in today's age. I think today's age is a little different because when you start reaching that level of people following you and shit,
Mm-hmm.
I think you have like you tend to that mean if you have that many followers, that means you tend to be on there. Like I think you have a constant view of what beauty is, and beauty is skewed, and
Mm-hmm.
beauty has so many. There's so many ways. Beauty changes at this point every week, damn near.
Got you.
Like beauty is a trend like a mother. So like it's like what is beauty today? You know what I mean? Like and I think sometimes you try to jump the gun and like just you know see what's beautiful to you or for your husband or for your wife or whatever like that. Like it's I think that's like kind of what tends to happen. But I
Mm-hmm.
think not so much in the acts that's being done or where this vision like where the visual is coming from. It's more so I think owning it uh and not giving in to all of the chatter. I think how you respond to a lot of this is very important, and it'll also show a lot about the person that's being talked about or that's receiving all of this backlash on like how often they've come across backlash.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I think at some point Aisha's gonna get to a point where it no longer factors into her life in whatsoever matter because she's been bombarded with it over the last couple of years to the point where
Do
she'll just start doing things and being a-okay with the decisions that she's made, regardless of what comes back, and realize that all of that adds to your bank account,
mm.
everything.
Do you think there's a chance she's already there
It's possible. I feel
Mhm.
like the response to this particular one was a lot better from their
than the first
side
one?
than the first one. Yeah, so I
Okay.
think they're already on that track,
And we
and she
got
just has
and
to
we gotta
continue.
go ahead, my bad.
She just has to continue to do this, and I think
Yeah.
that she'll completely take off because one of these things are like eventually people are going to move on to something else, and you can become the darling, and you can take off like a Kylie did. You know, like you can
So
do random shit that could potentially work. You know, like you just have to keep doing it if that's the lifestyle you're looking for.
we got some blowback for our initial commentary in and around the first situation, and I think what was
Oh,
misinterpreted,
Steph talk.
yeah, I mean what was misinterpreted on our part is that we were only replying to the response of the Currys, right?
That's it.
Like the status you uphold and the power, and if if you can acquire um, if you can acquire the access that they have, like, granted, that's being mindful that the same that those prejudice, that doesn't remove you of being black. None of that shit. That's not what we're talking about. But it does sort of require and recommend a certain level of like movement, and where you won't really let little shit like that impede your process, or even your sphere, right? Like at the very least, if success and back to celebrity and fame, if that shit can afford you anything, why not allow it to afford you to be impenetrable to disdain and people projecting, right? Like, to give it that much power seems almost kind of like wasting that access to me in my mind. But I could 100% be wrong about that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Going, yo, like, being broke, I kind of gotta entertain some of this goofy shit that's out here. But if I'm gonna be around that level of access, bro, the last thing I'm gonna be worried about is like shit like that. I feel like, at
Mm-hmm.
least that's what I want to tell myself. I could be 100% wrong. I might become more sensitive or whatever, or more insecure. But it's like, fuck, man. It just is there no escaping it? And when you go, your hate has to rest somewhere in the vein of like, yeah, your husband is untouchable, but not you.
Mm-hmm.
It's from the same people that root for your husband. That's the sick part.
Really, no different than the people that boo the home team for kneeling, bro. Like, I mean, you still have my game, right? You still want me to win this game, but you're booing me for something that has nothing to do with the game itself, or even what you think it might have to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, that just lets me know that you're not here for social justice.
At all. At
For the
all.
same people that you're rooting to
Rooting
win.
for.
You know what I mean? So like that's
It's
the
just a
that's the
game.
weird
It's just a game to you.
it's the weirdo shit that takes place, bro. Like you
Yeah.
can't, people cannot continue to give weirdo energy any level of attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's a mani pivot. Uh, a mani. Well, maybe not, because it's navigating relationships and stuff. Have you gentlemen identified your essentials in relationships, like love, like, not even, I won't even say relationships. I'll say, have you identified the essential, the three, if you could narrow it down just to just three things that are essential in a relationship for you? Do you know what they are?
Mm, yeah, I believe so.
What about you, Bud?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good. Should Am I going first?
Who wants to go first?
Like I said, he got it.
Shit.
He said shit.
For me, honesty, communication, and the third one's gonna sound weird if you guys need me to explain it. Is freedom,
Please
and
explain.
by freedom I mean, and this goes both ways, that you be free to do what you feel you need to do, with the understanding that me or my spouse is here to support. We're here to support each other. So if you tell me, even if it's something for me as strange as, hey, I want to start a taco truck. Even if I think you can't make good tacos, at least support it and be honest and communicate of and figure out, like, okay, you don't make the best tacos, but you want to run a taco truck. How are you gonna do this? So that's what I mean by freedom.
Hmm.
Like,
That's dope. So honesty, freedom, and communication.
yeah,
G, what about you?
I would say loyalty, communication is huge. But the longer I get along in this thing, like the older I get, I would say communication is so fucking key, bro. Like y'all gotta be able to talk. And that's why, like, the younger you go, it gets worse because I remember back when I was young and I was terrible at communication. I'm not about to take those back. I'm not about to turn around and do that shit all over again. I know people at 22 can't communicate.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
And then consistency, man. I would say
Loyalty, communication, consistency. God,
consistency, man.
damn.
Lean in
Okay.
is a close. Might be tied at
Fourth.
3.
Okay. Lean in and consistency. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta lean in relationships, man. Because the moment somebody got to pull you along, bro, that shit over with.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's impressive. Both answers. I just uncovered this last night, so it's not too far removed from like thought, and I had a night to sleep on it, and I still kind of feel the same way. Respect, the ability to listen to the other person, and then a passion. And so working backwards, I had passion solely because for whatever reason, I've tried to do the relationships where the other party isn't as passionate about something, and somehow it impacts the communication somehow, some way, like something is misinterpreted some way, and I'm kind of thrown about it until I go, oh shit, we don't even bond over the base of having a passion. Like that's important, and don't have to be. I think people always confuse that with it being art or creative. Like fuck that. Like that. No. Like what do you have anything you're passionate about? I don't care what it is. I feel like there's a universal language in just being passionate about something, and then the ability to listen is part of that communication thing for me, where I just realized this about myself. I need something a little bit more specific. And communication for a really long time just felt so open ended. I wasn't sure what people meant. It's like, also, I need to explain myself better. And then what it came down to for me is like, no, I need to learn how to listen better. Because I wasn't listening for a really long time. And so I was still taking shit personal. But if you slow down and you listen to what people are saying, bro, that shit don't even be about you. So then it just allows you to really, really show up for that person if you really listening. But if you listening just to respond, or if you listening just to win the argument, my nigga, you not gonna ever hear what that other person is saying to you. So it's just gonna be hella just these moments of taking shit personal, where the person, even if it's like displaced a little bit and like off kilter, if you really, really slow down and be present, you can hear like, oh man, she tripping. Nah, she not tripping, nigga. She's expressing something that she don't really know how to say just yet. So show up for real and don't just stop at, oh, you tripping on me today, because it usually don't be that. And that is it's a really hard lesson to learn, but a lesson indeed. And then the respect aspect, I think the respect sort of offset, or this the respect, the other two categories are so dependent upon the respect factor. Um, and it's and I need to get a little bit more specific about what that means too. But for what I have so far is that the um, respect just so holds a requirement of wanting to show up and wanting to carry my weight to the point to where I've got it proportionate enough to where if I need to pick you up too, it's cool, but it doesn't impact your status or where I see you at, right? You just down for a minute, but I respect you so much that I'm still showing up, I'm still present, and I know you're gonna bounce back better than ever. So now we rock. We're stronger than ever, you know. So now I had to love essentials. I thought that was pretty tight. Can we identify them, and how, what kind of dialogue can we have in and around them? So I appreciate y'all for sharing that shit. That was pretty tight. I wanted
Sure.
to ask that. I wanted to ask that
Can
immediately.
we have a wilder turn to that
Hmm.
of like responsibility on like
Hmm.
the male side,
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, on like the respect factor, right? Just for like men in general,
Hmm.
how important respect is
In our language, our
in
love
our
language.
language. Period. Yeah.
Hmm.
So think about over time, right? and how terrible the lessons were that we've learned over the years when it comes to how to respect women, right? And then uh, the idea that you can be in a relationship, but uh, step outside of the relationship, which then would garner less respect the more and more it happens, right? To the point where the only argument that you have coming back is that you feel disrespected.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, why is your lady constantly disrespecting you? And
Man,
it's like, bro, do you not pick up on any of the shit that I've had to go through throughout this? Like, you think that respect is something that should just be given, regardless of
that's
like what is actually taking place in real time.
in real time.
So, yeah, so that was, I was just thinking like if that was like a,
No, that's the way to narrow. Again, G, I needed help in narrowing down what that meant, and you hit it immediately. Like the pantheon in which respect is held in the male importance of communication. For whatever reason, respect is hella high, and not so much like give me my respect, but the terrain I offer shit that I respect. Like certain shit that I respect as a man gets so much terrain and so much of my effort to understand that thing's perspective, importance, and position. Like I'm not gonna start by questioning something I respect. I'm gonna start by exploring something I respect. And questioning
mm,
and exploring is two different things.
mm,
Questioning is written in some defense, some disdain, a little bit of disdain, and a little bit of unwillingness to bend and be agile, both emotionally and mentally. Um,
mm,
whereas exploration, I'm just open. I'm open. I'm open to being wrong. I'm open to like even if I'm kind of right, going to figure out why that was right. Because 9 times out of 10, we only really know. And then there's always something beyond being right too. There's a follow up to that, and there's a responsibility to continue to show up. And to your point, respect is like you, nigga, you're not just given that, and then once you get it, it's something you have to be able to sustain. And in order to be able to sustain it, you got to do a lot of fucking work, bro, especially
mm,
on the behalf of if we're, and this is totally from a hetero standpoint, and like yo, like men and woman, like yo, women, like especially women, like the shit that they respect, and how at least from my estimation and how it works, a lot of it just is the ability to showcase effort, and to your point, consistency, G. Like that consistency shit is such a big component that so few people really lean on. Like you get the running joke is y'all get the girl and stop doing the work. It's like nigga, everything you did to get her, you got to do to keep her, and then
mm,
some, and grow in that character, not diminish. Like a lot of
mm.
niggas diminish in that character. No, 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 no. Let's turn it up. So
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I think for some reason the whole it gets lost in like the whole king and queen shit. Um, like what actual kings and queens were. You know what I mean? Like I
mm-hmm,
think people kind of get way too lost in the idea of kings and queens because in a
mm,
king and queen relationship, it meant that you do whatever for the king, um, and you sit downside, you know, next to whatever. But there's a step further that should be also explored too, where there's a need to hold up the queen. Uh, there should be no disrespect in that factor either. In order for them to be operating at maximum capacity, to then
mm,
do what needs to be done in that role to help out where the king is. You know what I mean?
mm.
Like, how do you think that you can go away from uh, the responsibilities that you have and still receive the full capacity
Facts,
support from
facts,
from the family. You know what I mean?
facts,
Like the whole no one wins on the family feuds deal. Like that's literally from someone not holding up their side of the bargain and therefore the entire establishment crumbles. You know, and there's a lot more that goes into it, and it is work. You know, but if we're in this mind state where of like having to do things and enjoying the process, this shouldn't be any different. You know, like this is
Pure
it's
effort.
all a part of process. Yeah, exactly.
Man, Lex, with the segment, the listener questions have been doing really well. You've become the buffer and the filter for the many-ass questions. So I'm gonna let you cue this one up.
Oh, thank you. First off,
Thank you.
I'm making this announcement now. For everybody, I love being the buffer, but if you really got a question, you can hit the Meet the Brave podcast Instagram and write up the whole story. You know, you don't
Oh,
always got to text me and then have the long drawn out conversation and then hit me with the question to ask the fellas, because
yo,
yeah. But anyways,
Hey, hey, what I'm saying too is that as much as this is like a therapy session for this group and for the listeners, um, we're starting to realize that there's a good amount of therapy that's for everyone involved. Because because the questions that folks is getting off, you know,
hey,
like
they getting off some shit. This is
yeah,
I don't even know where to start.
yeah.
it's stuff that would go into therapy, and then we're just the ones that try to blow this shit over.
And and here's the crazy part, because I'm gonna ask the question and then I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of background information so you guys can move forward with it. So the question is, how do I ask my guy to do a threesome with another man? Now the background to this is she says she already gave him the threesome with a lady.
Oh wow,
Okay.
a favor
So
for a favor.
Hmm.
yeah.
Good night, no sir.
So, so babe, we're trying to
and
run it. We're gonna run this back. We're gonna
yeah,
switch a few things up though.
and
Switch a few
so
key details.
again, I didn't answer the question properly, so she tossed it to brighter and clearer minds.
Hmm.
Oh, you got to start with what you said.
For sure,
What
dude.
I said, because okay, she said that they worked out a deal, and so this is the second part of the
Hey,
deal.
Paperwork.
work first of all, working out a deal is
Paperwork.
crazy. Paperwork.
Somebody signed on the dotted line.
Hey,
I guess so.
having paperwork is crazy.
Bro, just imagine writing that up, typing it, and then printing that shit out and presenting it.
Hey, no, having to bring it back when Brett acting like you didn't sign it though.
Bro, I think because I feel like there's a PowerPoint involved.
It was for
Imagine-
sure a PowerPoint,
or imagine
analytics and data.
Bro.
or imagine your girl rolling up with, oh, here's the paperwork. And like, who's that? Oh, he's the person that's gonna notarize this. Make sure it's official.
Hey, don't have a
But
notary for the threesome contract, bro.
No,
so
this is the polls and 100 people were interviewed.
and it's supposed to be like when they go on vacation,
Mm.
you know, it's supposed to, but she was like, he got his like 2 vacations ago, and she ain't got
Mhm.
hers yet.
Oh, he
So
was trying to put
now,
it off on the vacay. Oh, you think you slick? You thought she forgot.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So now she was like, we got
he
another
created some
vacation
space in
plan.
between too.
So she's like, now I just want to ask him to make sure that it's clear, like, hey, it's time to run it.
I'm not
'Cause
even gonna lie, bro. Vacations are hard enough to plan. But
Fitness in it. Fitness in it just
but
puts it over the
adding that
top.
part into it, bro. Like
Oh,
we
hey,
just both taking
bruh.
vacations. If I gotta reciprocate that on a vacation, we just gonna go on vacation,
Don't have the threesome on the itinerary, bro. That's crazy.
bro.
oh,
Sightsee, museums, threesome.
Bro, where was it at too?
I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
even
we
ask.
had
I won't lie to you.
That matters. The location matters for sure. Don't send me to Dakota trying to figure out a threesome.
I need to know where the prospect came from, man. Like, location. Nah, but go ahead.
See, and the answer that I said was, "Oh, your time's up. If it didn't happen back to back, then your time's just up. You lost your chance. You had to execute right at the next vacation." And I said,
"No,
you voided the contract."
It damn near had to happen the same night because whatever. It's just gonna have to. Where the Molly water at? Let's just get this over with. You signed a shitty contract, my man.
Terrible.
So she was like,
"Because what can we stop pretending like that's the same thing too? Like women, y'all gotta stop."
She didn't check the fine print. Yeah,
that's not. Those are not the same experiences. I'm sorry.
At all.
I know nobody wants to hear it. I know it sounds like a double standard.
There isn't even a right way to go about it. Like, so you tell me it's gonna be a random dude.
And then if it's somebody I know, it's even weirder.
That's what I mean. So there isn't a right way to this equation.
Nah, we're terrible because I don't even want to pretend like I can. I'm not about to play that game with y'all. Like try to say the right thing and not offend nobody. It's not the same thing. Sorry. So I'm just not rolling.
Yeah, I'm not the best person for like the threesome that enters like two guys and a girl because I've never done a train. So like the concept never really made sense to me. You know what I mean?
At all.
Like
it's the most backward shit in the world. I'm sorry, I'm not signing up for that.
Yeah.
I'm just confused on the reasoning, you know? So go ahead, Lex, what were you saying?
So this time I'm not the bad guy because I said, you do realize he only said yeah because
get that off.
He was going, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if I
said
like
Money said she signed a bad contract.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I said you guys don't went on.
There's a lot of people in bad deals out there. Just let her know she ain't the only one.
Hey, it's plenty of them contracts exist. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah.
And then newsflash, ladies, don't get into a relationship thinking that's the same thing and you can proposition your dude with that because it's not the same thing. So if that's a fantasy of yours, get that shit out the way for you come to me. Like have that done already. Because I'm not gonna judge it. To each his own. But it's just not gonna happen with me. So just get it out the way. Salute my nigga. High five. You had yours, bet I had mine too. We lit. Like that's it. But
it's real life.
It's not gonna happen with me.
You gotta know who you're dealing with, and that's not gonna fly. It just ain't gonna. It doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And you guys went on 2 vacations, and I know he probably did think about that, but he was like, if she don't bring it up, I definitely ain't bringing it. It ain't my turn to be like, oh, we ready to bring the other sausage into the party? No, it's not happening.
Hey, and she brought it up too at dinner one night, but the music was kind of loud, and he just said, "Huh," and act like he didn't hear her. He for sure hit her with the "huh." That's the go-to.
For sure.
That nigga hit her with the, they want $5 more for mushrooms on the steak. I ain't paying the $5.
You don't even eat mushrooms, bro. Relax.
Hey, she gotta look back at her contract to see how many vacations before her contract up.
See, she probably didn't read the fine print. You
thought
you had infinite. You thought you had infinite vacations.
Yeah,
he only put 3 in there.
See how many albums she got on her deal.
That's the trick. Artists be signing on the dotted line. Now you got 10 albums due before you can lead a label.
I told her the contract was voided 1 hour after they did the first one.
Hey. But shout out to her for getting that done, Thinking that it's gonna be reciprocated. Unfortunately, it's not. I hate to break it to you. I do want her to follow up though, after she once she figures out how she's gonna present that and
after
ask that question.
After that follow up with us and let us know how that went, so we can because
we'll love to hear about how that went and how that whole scenario went. Like how she presented it. Did she present it on the vacay? Did she already pick out the prospect? You know what? I'm gonna give her that one. Like, how about they do their like plan a vacation, choose a vacation. I'm sorry, brother. I don't know you, but pick out the prospect while she's on the vacation and then present it.
That's actually a good idea. While you was talking there, I thought of a sicker one. She go
What
on
you
the
got?
dating, she go on the dating service. She find the dude where they're going to for the vacation, and then she pop up
Yeah,
at the bar with her nigga and be like, "Oh, I think he would be the one."
Oh,
yeah.
just walk them into it.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
yeah.
that's that's
Lex,
hyphy.
and that's dangerous too. Because if she already picked Burr out and Brett no, I don't know how that's supposed to go afterwards. Like once because her dude is obviously gonna say no. But other brush showed up thinking he about to it's going down. So like this whole little that whole little back and forth is gonna be interesting. So if you want to either one of those do that
So
other
now
thing.
she damned if she tries the surprise attack. Because now he's got full leverage to act the plum fool. You just gonna surprise me? No, Leah. So please don't do the surprise. Don't do
Nah,
that.
but the surprise without her, but without him knowing, and she acting like she don't know the nigga though.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's the script. We got a script we running off of. So bruh gotta fully act like it was no communication. So she okay. Just finesse the play. I
Yeah,
like that plan.
exactly.
I'm with that plan. It ain't gonna work, but I'm with that plan.
I told
I
her
mean,
the contract was bad to begin with, but
because like she got to think about what role does she want this new guy to play in this threesome? Because
My imagination is going to the sickest shit, and it's just not
that's all that's
something.
running through the guy mind is like, what role you want to play? You want him? I mean, he could be. So if we had a hotel room, like we had a
Oh my
hotel
god, I can't.
if we had a hotel suite, if you really needed this to get back, then yes, he could come into the hotel suite. We go into the room, and my nigga can listen from the living room.
That's hard. Gee, you wildin'.
So that's the
You
role that
wildin'.
he could play in the threesome.
Ew, wildin'.
hey,
You got it.
can I ask one more other question real quick?
What's up?
How sick is the other dude that knows that he's going into a threesome with another man? Like
Hey,
he's down for it. Like, yeah, this is good.
But
hey.
he don't have nothing to lose. Like it ain't his girl. He don't give a fuck.
No, but the crazier thing is, I'm thinking about his attire. I think you pull up with sweats.
Nah, he's gonna have the '80s basketball shorts on. Like,
That's
you
what I
know,
mean. Like
Hey, no,
when you,
he gonna have hoop shorts on under his jeans.
bro, when you the extra, you for sure pull up in some wild shit. Like, nigga, I'm just here to throw dick.
Hey, the nigga that's pulling up for the train for sure got hoop shorts on under his jeans. I'm just gonna
For
tell you that right
sure.
now. I'm
For
telling you that
sure.
right now.
Most definitely. My road manny, like, wow, your dude got the full suit on and y'all didn't wind and dine.
Wine and dining, and now here he come with the
I'm at the bar with sweats and a hoop shorts on me,
no AG
tee,
with the breakaway sweats.
breakaway sweats. I'm in and out.
That nigga go walk into the hotel room and act like he a globetrotter, bro. Run a lap and pull all his shit off, and he ready to go.
nigga,
You got
drinking a rock star eating a McChicken sandwich.
ready.
Cause my role is to I need to get 3 minutes in, get a little mouth. I put my
Hey,
sweats back on. I'm out of here.
this is getting sick. I'm not about to let L get that off and just get off this show. Did you hear him, Lex? This nigga's a sicko. What?
That's my role in the
Oh,
success.
he said, "Get a little mouth,
Him having
get a
it
little,
mapped out.
get a little mouth." It's crazy, though.
Bro,
Oh shit.
3 minutes in, mouth, I'm out of there. You can have
Oh
your
my.
girl back.
You can have your girl. Oh man, fellas. I think we touched everything. Oh no, oh yeah. The trap the trap head to head heard around the world. A little disappointed for me.
Disappointed
Ti,
in the lineup.
yeah, the versus Ti versus Jeezy. I don't like the matchup, fellas. I gotta say,
No,
no
you think it's
no
lopsided?
disrespect to Jeezy. There's no way this matchup is supposed to be Ti. Ti is supposed to go up against a 50. Ti Ti is supposed to go up against one of them names. Like it's gonna be a landslide. It's not even gonna be close. Gucci versus Jeezy couldn't happen, obviously, for cultural purposes. But that was the matchup to have to keep it sort of like culturally relevant and make sense metrics wise. Ti, it's just a different echelon of accolades when you talk about and an accumulation of hits. I don't feel like I'm crazy in assuming that. Ross and 2 Chainz kind of went the way I thought it would go. Brandy Monica went exactly how I thought it would go. This feels real lopsided to me.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't,
Go ahead.
so if it wasn't 50, who do you think Ti would be good against? If it's not 50, who else is there for him?
For Ti,
Yeah.
it 50 was only when it made sense. No one else makes sense after 50. Luda Nelly was about right. I'm just going entry points in terms of like this. It's entry points, and then it's also like at a certain point the numbers have to match up, and Jeezy and Ti's numbers just don't match up. But like even the Busta Rhymes thing, like people want to dismiss the Busta Rhymes thing, but the hits that Busta Rhymes has makes him a better matchup for Ti than fucking Jeezy does.
Yeah.
Like I completely get why niggas was like Busta Rhymes. Yeah, that's weird. Like I get it, but if you start doing the math on the hit records that Busta has, shit, we having a whole different conversation. But people are really easy to disregard like smash records because they are smash records. But that Busta got at least 7 smash records, and that's being modest. Am I tripping in that?
Yeah,
No.
I just want to do that song with Janet Jackson.
Yeah. That what Ti song is bigger than that one?
Yeah, not mainstream for sure.
Yeah. Like come on now. That Busta Ti makes sense before fucking Jeezy Ti. I get the whole Atlanta thing, but we gotta start being honest about certain shit. The Gucci Jeezy matchup ain't even as close as people want to make it. But that's the matchup though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jeezy tailed off pretty bad.
Yeah.
He got TN 101. I don't know where you're going after that.
101 and then there's like some of the mixtape stuff, but I know people that don't even count those records, like Air Forces and shit like that. Like Jeezy got some joints, but in terms of like who you would put him head to head with, I'm not rolling. Sorry. This feels like it's a big win for Atlanta. It's a big win for Versus, but it's a slight to Ti in my estimation.
Yeah. I think that this definitely benefits Jeezy, but I think Jeezy also didn't have things that really play well now.
Mm-hmm.
Like even after he does his verses, I don't think it's gonna be like a crazy difference to like streaming numbers because his music doesn't really play well today to me. Like early on.
I think we're Ross because with the whole Jeezy Ross conversation was happening for a really long time, and then Ross continued to make like these stellar entire bodies of work, and then we started to go back and like with the Port of Miami 2, we went back and listened to Port of Miami 1, and Port of Miami 1 doesn't age as well as I think some people are giving it credit for, but it ages better than. I'm actually go TM 101. I'm actually go TM 101 age slightly better than Port of Miami, but the leaps that Ross made record to record were exceptional. Port of Miami 1 is a little dated for me in certain aspects, and I love that album. But I gotta say, if we still compare them because of entry points, I'm still gonna give 101 the edge over Port of Miami, but Ross's overall catalog, it ain't even fucking close.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad T.I. finally got an opponent because T.I. really wanted it. Like
yeah, have fun, buddy. It's like I said, it's gonna be a good. It's gonna be
really
good
wanted an opponent.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but for some reason, what popped in my head would always be Ti versus the Game. If 50 didn't take it,
I'm not mad at that, but again, it still feels like a wash.
Game really didn't age well. I can't stand the Game's music.
But see, in fairness, the Game, I don't know if the music didn't age well or we just stopped fucking with him, because I feel like the music's still pretty good.
That might be what it is.
I just can't listen to it. Like I think he's still making really dope music, because everybody that I know swears that last album is hard, and I listened to it and I was like, yo, it's tight, but I have no incentive to continue to listen to it.
That's probably what it is. I just can't listen to Game.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not a fan of him at all, but I just figured since if 50 didn't want to,
who is the other comparable matchup for T.I.? If not 50, huh?
That's why I was like, yeah.
T.I. and Cam? No. No. Yeah, I don't know. I do want to see a Dipset versus somebody though.
What, the Locks?
No, not even. Not even. That would be good for New York though. I don't know.
I don't know who T.I. can match up against, but
yeah, I don't know.
I think T.I. didn't either. That's the reason why.
All there was 50.
So that's it, man. That's all. That's the only thing he was gonna sign up for, and then he just had to settle for this one because at least they had assigned this at some point in time.
And let's predict scores before we get out of here. Are you giving Jeezy any rounds?
T.I. 19-1.
Damn.
What you got, Lex?
I'm gonna give T.I. 12, Jeezy 8, and that's 8. Just
I'm going 14-6.
See.
Yeah, I'm going 14-6 tip. Pause. I'll beat y'all to it. Oh man. Well, fellas, appreciate y'all. We came, we saw, we conquered remotely. Anything else before we get out?
Nah, there's World Series going on right now. That's about it.
Man, last night was insane.
Baseball has its moments. Like I'm not so against baseball as I was when I was younger. I got into their stats a little bit better, but this is a really good one. This was the best matchup for the World Series.
Are you playing or no? Ben White?
You saw what?
Are you betting?
No, not on this one. Even though it's been pretty predictable on the betting on baseball right now. Like it just depends on which pitcher is leading off, and then just got to go for the over because batting is so ridiculous nowadays that there's no pitchers that can keep batters in line to go less than 7 runs. So
I wonder how that affects when you say that, G, because it sounds like on some like you do this shit for real. I wonder how many other bettors like feel that way. And like baseball is the one where you can sort of shore up your money, whereas football, I know a lot of people are saying how unpredictable football feels right now. From points to the spread as a whole, like it doesn't feel as sure as it did in years before because of the lack of training camp and all that shit. And then even with the bubble in the NBA, like some of the over-unders were impacted mightily, and then the spreads were complete. You could throw the spreads away in the bubble with NBA. Like, shit was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now the bubble has affected, or just the COVID has affected sports big time on the betting side, where you just don't know. Like you have zero clue. But baseball is a little bit easier just because knowing the pitchers. Like if you have a pitching staff, then you should pretty much know what the outcome is going to be, pick wise, on like who's going to win. And after that, it's just like how much they can contain the other batters. Which if you have a great batting staff, then good luck with that. It's going to be low, but it ain't going to be lower than what the spread's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta really tap in because I do well and I like do, especially with like spreads and shit like over under.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a whole. It feels like a whole nother like commitment.
Yeah. Fun stuff though, fellas.
Yes,
Good
sir.
work.
Yes, sir. Lex, Bub, appreciate you, bro. Always. G, appreciate you. Remote, we always get it done. Our listeners, appreciate y'all rocking with us. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube page, follow the Meet the Brave podcast playlist, hit the notification so that you get an alert every time we drop a clip. Salute to Les Bubble Productions for keeping us fully clipped up too. It's been another episode of the Meet the Brave podcast, and we will see you next week.
Love, love.
Yes.